Get ready, because today we're going to discuss 10 specific phrases that you absolutely don't want to use in your writing. By the way, my name is Brandon McNulty. I'm the author of Bad Parts, also the author of Entry Wounds, and welcome to my writing channel. Every now and then I'll be reading a book and I'll be enjoying it until I come across a certain phrase that just takes me right out of the story. And today I want to share with you 10 cliched, overused phrases that you want to keep out of your writing. If you are using these phrases, definitely consider cutting them. First phrase, like a moth to the flame. The problem I have with this one is that it's cheesy, it's overly dramatic, and it sounds like something that only a cartoon villain would say. Like, oh, you're luring the heroes into the torture chamber like moths to the flame. And I think if you are trying to establish the idea that, someone is being put in danger, there are better ways of doing this. Avoid this overused and overly dramatic phrase. Number two is a common line of dialogue, and it's walk with me. I'm sure you've heard this before in movies, TV shows. You have an office setting, you have two characters, one says to the other, walk with me. Then they walk down the hallway together and they discuss the plot. The problem I have with this phrase is that it sounds very unnatural no matter who is speaking it. And I don't think I've ever actually heard it spoken in real life, and certainly no one has ever said it to me, and I think if they did, I'd probably walk in the other direction. And not only is it unnatural, but it's also unnecessary. If you want two characters to walk down the hallway together, just have one start down the hallway and start talking. It's that simple. Number three is the phrase, grew quiet. The problem I have with grew quiet is that it doesn't make any logical sense, because if something is growing, it's getting larger, it's expanding. And if something is getting quieter, it's diminishing in sound. So you have two conflicting ideas here, the idea of growing, the idea of diminishing, and it just doesn't work. If you're going to use a phrase like this, try something like fell silent. Number four is the phrase ugly as sin. And the problem I have with ugly as sin, or ugly as hell, or ugly as dirt, or ugly as anything, is that it's lazy characterization, lazy description. Instead of just saying that this creepy old man is ugly as sin, give me some description. Let me know why this character is ugly. Are his eyes a strange color? Is his skin peeling or covered in pockmarks or whatever? Let me know why you think this character is ugly. Don't just tell me he's ugly as sin, which is just a vague idea. Number five is another line of dialogue, and it's pick on someone your own size. Anytime I hear this one in a story, it usually pops up in like a bullying scenario. You have a bully picking on someone, and then a hero swoops in and says, pick on someone your own size, and then a fight ensues or whatever. And it's just so cheesy. There's just no way around it. It belongs in like a 70s cartoon. It does not belong in a contemporary story. Number six is the phrase, needle in a haystack. I was most recently reading a book that was set in a city in contemporary times, and the narrator used the phrase needle in a haystack, and it just took me right out of the story, right out of the setting. And the problem is that haystacks are something that we associate with farms, and most of us are not farmers nowadays. And I think it's important to remember that this phrase came about a long time ago, and it was effective back then because farming was more prevalent. But nowadays, if you are using it in a story that is set in a city or contemporary times or whatever it is, be careful with it because it can disrupt your setting. Number seven is a similar one, and it's tip of the iceberg. You'll often hear this one when you have characters who stumble upon a mystery and they'll say, oh, we've only reached the tip of the iceberg. There's much more to this mystery. The problem I have with tip of the iceberg is this, it's the same concept as needle in a haystack. Whenever you bring up an iceberg, it takes me out of the story because I have to think about the Titanic or lettuce or whatever it is. But I think if you are writing a story that is set in a moderate climate, you might want to avoid that phrase, and especially just the fact that it's overused is a great reason to avoid it altogether. Number eight is the moment of truth. This one often appears in stories where you have a character making a big decision. Brandon has to decide between this or that. It's his moment of truth. And whenever I see it in a story, it really takes away from those big choices that a character has to make because the phrase has just been overused again and again. It's lost its impact. It also sounds overly dramatic. The moment of truth. Oh, what a big deal. Don't use this in your stories. Don't detract from those bigger choices that your characters have to make. Number nine is a snowball's chance in hell. You probably thought this one was cool and edgy the first time you heard it because someone was cursing in front of you, but this one has just been used over and over and over to the point that it's completely lost its impact. Anytime you need to describe something as having long shot odds, there are a lot better ways to do it. Come up with something more creative than this. And number 10 is a line of dialogue, and if I catch you using this, I will take your keyboard away. And it's cat got your tongue. Now, I'm sure you've heard this one before. Oftentimes when characters are arguing back and forth, one character will get the upper hand over the other. The loser will fall silent while the winner retorts with, "What's the matter? Cat got your tongue?" Anytime I hear this one, I shut the book and I move on to something else. It's just an awful phrase, and no matter what character speaks it, it always comes out sounding snooty or smug or annoying. Please cut this one from your writing. Spare me from ever having to see it again. So I hope this helps. Question of the day: what cliched phrase do you hate seeing the most in writing? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to support the channel, please pick up a copy of either one of my books and be sure to leave reviews on Amazon. Bad Parts is great if you like small town horror. It's about people trading away their sick and injured body parts in order to get healthy again. And Entry Wounds is great if you like thrillers. It's about a guy who picks up a haunted gun and he cannot put it down until he kills 6 people with it. Also, be sure to check out my other videos. Hit the like and subscribe buttons for me, share this video with a friend, and as always, remember to keep on writing.